Most first-time home buyers here in Central Texas are overwhelmed. They have no idea where to start, have no idea who to trust, or actually, frankly, how much home they can actually afford. If that sounds familiar, I built this step-by-step roadmap to take the stress out of buying your very first home right here in Central Texas. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect from our very first conversation all the way to the closing table. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. I'll be with you every single step of the way, guiding you with clarity and care. Dive into the very first step of this process, which is the getting pre-approved. So your pre-approval is actually laying the financial foundation for this home buying journey. And this is a very integral step that we definitely do not want to miss. Now, as a realtor, I always tell my clients, that my first time home buyers especially, that pre-approval is the key that unlocks everything. Now, why do you ask? Well, because pre-approval actually tells us exactly what price range that we're actually going to be able to work with and what you're going to be able to afford. And that actually shows sellers that you're serious, that you're a serious contender. In fact, most sellers here in Texas won't even look at your offer without having that pre-approval. Think of it as your golden ticket to shop with confidence. So here's what that looks like. Essentially, you'll chat with a lender who reviews all your income, your credit, your savings, and all the assets you may have to give you the best options as far as any program that you may qualify for. And here's some good news. I bet you didn't know this. You don't need 20% down. What? Is that right? Yeah, you really don't. Many of our buyers' first-time programs here in Texas actually only require you to have 3 to 5% down. And some offer some 5% down payment assistance if you qualify. So these are some great incentives that you can definitely take advantage of in your home buying journey. Now, for veterans like myself, you may even qualify for 0 down. So that is something you definitely want to consider if you're a veteran or if it's your first time buying a home. Tell you a quick story. One of my clients last year thought that they'd be stuck renting forever, basically, until we got them pre-approved. And in just a couple of days, they learned that their monthly payment on their brand new home that's going to be taking place here in Georgetown was actually going to cost them $150 less than they were actually paying in rent in the Austin area. Now, that's amazing, and that's the power of starting right here. Here's a quick tip, right? Once you're pre-approved, please avoid any big financial changes, like don't order any cars, don't order any new accounts like credit cards, don't do any of those things that could potentially jeopardize putting your assets at risk for getting any new loan approval. So keep your finances steady, protect your loan, and keep us moving straight into that closing table so that you can get into that brand new home. So that's gonna take us straight into step number 2. Here's where the fun part begins, the house hunting aspect of our home buying journey. With our pre-approval in hand, we know exactly our budget, and that's gonna let us focus on the home that fit your lifestyle and your long-term goals. In our very first meeting, we'll discuss some of these important details, and I'll ask you about your must-haves, like location, your home size, yard space, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, if commute time is important to you, even the lifestyle of things that are important that you may need, like say a home office or potentially wanting to be closer to good schools. From there, we'll definitely be able to set up a good personalized search and start sending you listings that actually fit your criteria. You can send me homes as well, whatever you see online, and we can schedule some showings. We can see those together in whatever is out there. So here's the reality. In Central Texas, good homes can actually move very fast, even in this current market. Some get multiple offers within days of going on market. And that's why it is very important that we keep a close eye on the market so that you don't miss out on any of it. Now, during our tours, I'll give you some honest feedback, some honest insight into pointing out some of the pros and cons of any potential red flags of that home, even resale value for any future factors that you may consider. One couple I worked with recently thought that they wanted a new construction home until they recently saw how long it was going to take them to commute from their home to their work. And after a few tours, they actually realized, you know what, the resale home was actually closer to work and it was just a better fit and a smarter fit for them. And that's normal, right? That's part of the whole process. And that's part of my job, to help you refine what the want actually looks like for you based on your situation. And don't worry, if we don't find the right one right away, it's okay. Some buyers find their home immediately after 2 showings. Others hours, sometimes 10. My role is to guide you and to not pressure you and to ensure that you make the right decision in the right fit that's perfect for you and that you are confident about making a decision with that home. With that being said, we're gonna dive into step number 3, which is basically making an offer where we go from love it to contract. Another quick story, real quick. So one of my most recent buyers, he also thought that he needed 20% down. As we covered earlier, you really don't, but this was his first time. So what we did, we were able to find him a program that allows 3.5% down, and we were able to get him to his very first home with less than he paid up front for his last apartment lease. Now, isn't that fantastic? And that's exactly what we could do for you as well. The bottom line is strong financing and clean terms matter more than myths. During this process, what I'll be doing is pulling comps, pulling price comparisons for any active on the market and any recent sale so we can write a good, fair, competitive offer that is strong enough to win, but also smart enough not to pay way overpriced. So those are the important factors that I'll be handling for you in the back end so that you don't need to worry about it. You just focus on finding that right home. So from there, we're gonna cover the earnest money, which is typically 1% of the purchase price. For example, $3,000 on a $300,000 home. That is applied to your closing and typically refunded if any contingencies aren't met in that process. So one thing that is important that will take us on to the next step is the option period to be able to exit out of that contract should you not be confident in continuing for that purchase. With that being said, our option fee here in the period here in Texas is typically a small fee that you pay to the seller asking for that inspection period that allows you to do your due diligence for that home. Now, typically the fee is between $100 to $200 depending on the amount of days. I always like to go for between 7 to 10 days. Pretty reasonable. It's basically a no questions asked inspection window that allows us to do our due diligence on that home to ensure everything is in working condition and everything is doing great in what it's supposed to do. Now, this fee is typically credited to you back at closing as long as you do not back out. But if you do back out of the contract during that inspection period, you do lose that $100 to $200 as part of your inspection period requirement. Contingencies. This is something that we'll definitely write into the contract. So in contingencies and inspection timings, it's like financing, inspection, contingencies are normal, and those typically last between 30 to 45 days. And as we move into that closing period, that's about the time frame from contract to close, depending on whatever contingency you may want on your particular agreement to purchase the sale of that home. So during that period, this is where we actually have negotiation leverage with the seller. Once we submit our offer, the seller may counter on price, may counter on dates, terms, and I'll handle that strategy with your guidance. I will offer a clean offer, flexible closing, etc., and those things just to make our offer seem easy and acceptable. You know, we definitely want to offer a good, conscious offer for those sellers so that they can respond with, yes, we'll accept your offer and let's move forward and proceed with this home contract. So once the seller does approve it, then we are technically under contract, right? So once that is accepted, we are officially on the clock. That starts the inspection periods. That's where we're going to do the appraisal and the loan finalization. And with that, that will take us into step number 4, that option period. In that option, we'll do the inspection and our due diligence of this home so that we can proceed on to the closing table. During this step number 4, this is where we're going to verify the home's condition. We're going to get a licensed inspector out to that home to do their checks and check the roof, check the HVAC, check the plumbing, electrical, foundation, appliance, you name it, everything, top to bottom, left to right, all the home to make sure it's in good working condition and in good working order so that you feel confident in that home and moving forward with that purchase. Here's some things to what to expect during this inspection period is you're going to get a large report, typically 20 to 30 pages, depending on the size of your home. And we'll focus on big ticket items and the health and safety issues of that particular home. The main concerns are actually, are there any active leaks with the plumbing? Is the roof in good working condition? Is the foundation of any concern? Has it been shifted? Does it need leveling? The HVAC system, is that working properly? Is it heating? Is it cooling? Etc. So those are the things that are big ticket items that we definitely want to focus on. We definitely want our inspector to pay attention to so that we can have the confidence to know that those things are in good working condition as we head into the closing table. Based on that report, we're going to use that for leverage. So once that report comes back, we can have that request made to the seller for any potential repairs or credits or price reductions based on what the report did bring back. So that allows us to really negotiate and use that potential as leverage to get us a better potential offer and ensure we're not overpaying in these cases. In rare cases, buyers will tend to walk away during this period if they feel that there is way too much happening, way too many things to fix, or the seller is unwilling to bring the price down based on the condition of the house, which is the beautiful thing about the option period. That allows you to keep your earnest money in place and get returned back to you. And the only thing that you'll lose is obviously that option fee, which is the $100 to $200 that you paid to have that said inspection. Now, one thing I also like to mention and point out, something that we'll go over in person, but you also obviously have to pay for that inspection, which is typically a few $100s as well. During this, my role is also to translate the report, help you get these estimates that you potentially will need if necessary to help negotiate a good, fair outcome so that you're not inheriting, it's again, a surprise bill right after closing. So that's the important aspect of having that home inspection and ensure that you are not getting something that is potentially a lemon or a dud in this home and you're actually clear to go all the way to the closing table. So that'll take us into step number 5, right? The portion of the appraisal and finalizing the loan process so that you can get into that home stretch. So now during this process, the appraisal will be ordered by the lender. This is another fee that was part of your closing costs that you would essentially inherit. So the lender will order that appraisal just to confirm that home's value. Now, what we want to see in this appraisal is actually that the home returns at or above that asking price. And that is fantastic. That is what we want. From time to time, it does come in a little lower and we'll have options if that is the case. Now, what we can do during this time, if the appraiser comes in lower than our asking or our offer price, we can negotiate on price, what the price of the home purchase will be, or we can ask for to split the difference with that seller, or even in some cases we can bring that additional funds to the table to make up that difference. That is something that I'll definitely guide you on as far as the strategy. We'll work on together what you believe is the best approach for you and your family, but it's something to obviously consider because you just never know what these appraisers are going to come back with when they value these homes for sale. So moving right along, this whole process, underwriting is underway in the back end. So even after pre-approval, the lender is going to continue to verify your finances and verify everything is in order. So, and just like I mentioned earlier, please don't open any credit cards, don't make any big purchases. Keep everything in your income and your assets steady so that we don't have any financial hiccups moving through underwriting and getting this loan approved and clear to close all the way to the closing table. One additional aspect in this section as well is the taxes and insurance for the home. Now, your home lender is going to want you to choose an insurance provider, and that's going to create a binder that the lender needs during this underwriting process. It's just showing that you will have insurance at the closing of this home, and that's going to be in place for you to actually take possession of that home. Now, in addition to this portion of it, you're also going to have your taxes, which are going to be necessary to be paid, and typically it is paid by the seller and also the buyer, and which is prorated and depending on when you buy this particular home. So one of the great things about that is we'll have it in escrow, which means the taxes and the insurance are incorporated into your monthly payment, meaning you'll have your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance all rolled up into one payment. So all you're making is that one payment, and all those things are paid by the end of the year. So no worries about that. It's just something that you definitely want to consider and think about as you purchase your new home. You definitely don't want to get caught having to save for your insurance and have to pay that for yourself later down the line. With that being said, the other aspect that's happening during this step is title is working on ensuring that this home that you are looking to purchase has a clear title, that there's no encumbrances, there's no issues, there's no liens on this property, whether it be by another lender or another mechanical lien by some work that was done on the property was never paid. A lien is a potential debt due to somebody who has not been paid by the current homeowner. Those liens typically can be easily remedied through title, which is why it's important that we cover that section during our title commitment to ensure those things are cleared up so that we are clear to go and there's no issues for us moving forward. And the title policy insurance that we get typically by the seller sometimes can be negotiated and be purchased by that buyer just to ensure that they are protected as well as the lender lending on that loan. Now, this is typically on a case-by-case basis here. Most of the time that insurance policy of title is covered by the seller, but nevertheless is something to always consider because it can get paid by the buyer. While all those things are happening, we are going to get ready to get to CTC, which is the clear to close from the lender. This is what happens when all the conditions are met and your lender issues it and tells you you are ready to go. We are ready to go to the finish line and we are clear to close. Yes, baby, let's head to that closing table and closing day. So with that being said, step number 6, closing day. This is when you welcome home. During our welcome home and during our final step of this process in closing, we will definitely schedule a final walkthrough for your home. Typically, I like to do 3 to 5 days beforehand. That gives us time to ensure that everything that we agreed upon, everything in the home's condition, it has been met. Any repairs that we needed have been done and agreed upon completely properly. And we have all those receipts, we have all those expectations have been met, and we are actually clear to close and everything was done. What is an important step in that final walkthrough to ensure all those things have been accomplished before we continue moving forward and actually head over to that closing table and on that closing day. Once we're there, we're at the closing table, we're all at title, ensuring everything has been done, we are ready to go. Next step is ensuring that we sign all the documents and bring the funds to close this deal. Typically, you're going to want to bring your ID, any certified funds or wires or down payments that you're going to be needed. Now, this is something that the title will definitely give us, a full breakdown of closing costs, everything, the fees, the lenders, and everything that needs to be disclosed for this proper purchase. You will definitely get all that stuff in with closing right here at the closing day, so that there are no surprises. You know exactly from that moment on what it is that you're going to be paying. Closing costs will be outlined in that particular closing disclosure, which will typically be somewhere between 2 to 5%, and expect to be reviewing and ensuring these documents are in order to sign everything. Expect to be there for right about an hour. And there's a lot of signings, so make sure you're stretched out with that arm. This is going to take us through the next phase of this closing day, which is where we get the keys and deed gets recorded by title. So once everything has been funded, once everything has been signed, it is clearly your house. Congratulations, you are now getting the keys. This is the final step in the process. Once everything has been verified by title, all the documents have been signed, right then and there, you typically will get your keys to your brand new home. This is where you'll then start setting those things up to have those keys changed or those locks changed for your new home, so that you can actually start that moving process with care and safety. Now, after closing, of course, this is that important portion of it, is that you want to make sure you set up those utilities. Everything is set up so that you can enjoy your very first night in your new home. If you ever need anything during this entire process, and especially at closing, when some questions do come up myself, I'll be there with you, as long as the escrow officer as well. Answer any questions that may pop up during this closing time. Typically comes up with just documents and what you're signing to get clarity on that stuff. But nevertheless, I will be there for you every single step of the way. So are you ready to start your home buying journey? Tell me now. Yes, I knew it. I knew you would. So the process has a lot of moving parts, but you won't be doing it alone. I'll be right there with you. I'll help you along. I'll guide you. I'll map out these steps and handle all the details and protect your interests with clarity and care. So if you're really thinking about buying a home, or you know anyone that may potentially want to sell, if you want to walk through it, talk through it about any specific of your situation, go ahead and schedule a call with me. Click the link in the description below, and let's get started with that conversation to help you on your next home buying journey. Take care.